I'm sure that many of us in this room still recall the Great Recession in 2008. This was a year in which our country's unemployment rate skyrocketed as a result of an unexpected economy crash. This pandemic showed a correlation between dropping out of high school and chances of unemployment. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor, 36% of unemployed Americans at the time were high school dropouts, compared to 20% of unemployed Americans. According to the University of Sunshine and Coast in Australia, among many other research papers that I will be talking about throughout my presentation, talk about the relevance of setting academic goals for our future success and motivation. This pandemic that happened in 2008 shows a clear relevance in setting academic goals for our future education. I'm sure many of us in this room are also aware that high school dropouts are increasing every day, especially among minorities such as Latinos and African Americans. According to the National Education Association, 64% of the Latino population have managed to finish post-secondary education, compared to 83% in the African American and 91% among the Caucasians. A quote that really stuck out to me in the National Education Association website stated, "Every day in 180 days of school year, one high school student drops out every 9 seconds." So I believe the question we should ask ourselves now is, what do we do? As community, as a nation, as teachers? Reality tells us there is not much we can do as outsiders. This root of the problem starts from within the children's home. According to the same source, the National Education Association tells us some factors that go into whether students choose to drop out of high school. This includes a family's socioeconomic status, family structure, and stress. However, the main determining factor that has been found among multiple high school dropouts is low income. The high level of concern here with high school dropouts is the consequences that they face later on down the road, specifically unemployment. Right now, unemployment is a center of attention, especially with our fluctuating economy. It's a vicious cycle, really, if you think about it. A student drops out of high school. They then start a family. Then they end up being either in a low part-time paying job or unemployed. Then their children drops out of high school. It's rarely seen that this cycle is broken. According to U.S. Labor in 2003, high school dropouts were 72% more likely to be unemployed than a high school graduate. And even though this is a very important issue in today's date, it's not the only repercussion these high school dropouts are facing. According to the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency, 80% of prisoners are high school dropouts. So we can see this is a relative issue in our today's society. Growing up, I can attest to this. I grew up in a low-income household. And yes, sometimes I wanted to quit school or pause school and get a low part-time paying job to pay the bills. But we all have to ask ourselves this. Is this going to fix the issue for the moment, or is it going to have negative impacts for future generations to come? I suggest there are two determining factors if we are to make a change in this vicious cycle. One is motivation and two is goal setting. As a matter of fact, motivation and goal setting walk hand in hand. According to Harvard University peer-reviewed article, they define motivation as the psychological process that causes the arousal, direction, and persistence of voluntary actions that are goal-oriented. Andre Elliott himself, in another peer-reviewed article regarding motivation and goal setting, states that giving individuals specific goals rather than a to-do list increases their motivation. What I am proposing here, is that we in order to increase motivation and chances of graduation, we must implement goal setting within our children's education system. Teaching students from a young age how to properly set academic goals will increase their time management and sense of purpose. According to USC University in Australia, successfully reaching your academic goals increases a sense of effectiveness and also boosting confidence in furthering your education. All right, well, I know many of us sitting in this room are probably thinking, yeah, this works for young children, but what about for us? What about for adults or people who have already dropped out of high school? If you're not happy with your current living situation or your job or your degree, goal setting is for you. Goal setting pertains to everyone. Harvard University, within their peer-reviewed article, Setting Goals, Who, Why, and How, states that setting goals pertains to different settings, and it increases the rate of success, not just academic ones. This brings me to my second solution, leading by example. If we are to increase high school graduate rate as well as success for future generations, we need to start at the root of the problem, which is parent involvement. The first solution I proposed was to implement academic goal setting in our children's education system. But I believe that if we go a little further back and kind of bring parents to start engaging in their children's academic success and academic goal settings, this kind of goes into the monkey see, monkey do phenomenon, which is a psychological study brought out by Albert Bandura. This study, he showed the importance of mirror neurons within the brain, which shows that if children see their parents wanting to be in their schooling and are interested in it, them too will want to be interested in furthering their education and setting academic goals. Personally, I've seen and received pamphlets in which schools are not only encouraging parent involvement, but pressing for parent involvement. So right now, I feel like we need to see the bigger picture. We can't just expect our children to start setting academic goals by themselves and further their education and break this vicious cycle. It has to start with us, the adults and the leaders. I would like to finish my presentation with a quote by Fitzhugh Dudson, and it says, "Without goals and plans to reach them, you're like a ship that has sail with no destination." So I encourage every single one of you, the next chance you have to sit at a PTA meeting, do it. Show and encourage motivation and academic goal setting. The next chance you get to pick up a book on setting goals, do it, because I promise you it's going to help you no matter what aspect of your life you want to set those goals for. Thank you.